Hello everyone, I'm Patrick Ridenour again, and we have Terry Hong here who dropped so that he could cast.
Yeah, 1-3 boys. Oh
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it happens.
We just get to see interesting games, and honestly, that's more interesting to me right now than trying to get 6 points.
Yeah, and we have an interesting match right now because, for one, we have the birthday girl who is undefeated going up against Tricia, who is X2. I don't think any of us have ever seen a pair down that big. But
Yeah, it's a double pair down. It's crazy.
It turns out it's because Hayley already battled all of the X1s. And anyway, we see another Landorus Incarnate here with Hayley bringing Celesteela, Tyranitar, Zapdos, Landorus Incarnate, Tapu Fini, and her signature Pokemon, Stoutland.
Yeah, so Hayley's been like a Stoutland specialist for, I believe, 3 years. And it's just something that she's very used to, and it has a lot of cool tricks up the sleeve, and that's what brings her to this 4-0 record as of right now. Her team, we've seen this kind of team from her for the past couple PCs, the past few PCs actually, and the Landorus Incarnate is really interesting because it being a Sand Sweeper seems to be its only viable role, whereas for Tricia, we see her with some of her favorite Pokemon like Suicune. And honestly, Suicune Metagross is very underrated in a way that it generates lots of pressure from the get-go, covers each other's weaknesses, while also being able to set up speed control. So I'd like to see how that particular duo of Tricia's fares well with Hayley Sand.
And we see the battle starting right now with Tricia leading with Zapdos and Tapu Lele. So we might see a seed activate here if Tricia has that.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. I'm not sure if a Celesteela Tyranitar lead is something that Tricia might have expected then, because that's like a special answer. So it does activate, and we see that Zapdos is the fastest here, followed by Tapu Lele and Tyranitar. But obviously Tyranitar is not Mega Evolved, and it looks like it is the Mega Evolution, so after the Mega Evolution, we'll see how the speed changes.
Yeah, anyway, Tricia's Tapu Lele is going to be pretty threatened by this Celesteela, so it probably doesn't want to stay in here. And Zapdos should be able to take a Rock Slide from Tyranitar so that it can, maybe do something to this Celesteela. And
it is a weird spot though, because I feel like ideally both would like to switch, but then that just puts her in a tough spot because the stuff in the back takes unnecessary damage.
And yeah, Tricia going straight for the Thunderbolt into the Celesteela, recognizing that she probably wants that out of the way pretty soon. And, ooh, Tyranitar's Rock Slide doing big damage, and that wasn't even a critical hit.
Yeah, and okay, so it lives with 1 or 2 HP with the sand damage.
And Hayley's Celesteela showed Flash Cannon, so it's running a more special set, which is something that she's known for doing, but still not something you usually see.
Yeah, I think it's well positioned in the Incineroar Landorus meta, but I think for this exact board state, I want to go over the fact that the fact that Zapdos outsped Mega Tyranitar kind of threatens the Celesteela, but Lele still wants to switch as she does right now. And I'm assuming that Tyranitar here can set up a Rock Slide depending on just what Hayley feels like her win condition will be at the end. But I think this is a fairly commanding position from Hayley, snowballing her lead advantage into, well, a quantifiable health difference between the 4 Pokemon.
And we see Tricia's Zapdos go for the Thunderbolt into the Tyranitar, just trying to get some damage on it before it goes out.
So that looks like a very offensive Zapdos because being able to, well, get a 2-hit KO on a Celesteela with Thunderbolt, as well as not showing the roost. Perhaps like if it was outspeeding Tyranitar, it should be a special attacker anyways, but I just thought that was very interesting to note, the combination of fast, high damage Zapdos spreads combined with a seed.
Yeah, like usually with a very offensive Zapdos, you'll see something like Electrium Z for the Z move.
Yeah, it seems a little bit like a compromise towards the middle. There must be a specific matchup that she's using that for. I'm not sure how it went for this particular team that she's playing against right now, though. I was honestly expecting something along the lines of Metagross and Suicune, which I felt would have had a better lead position. But that's something that Tricia already knows and will consider for her game 2. As for game 1, I think what move that Lele has in the flex slot will really determine her options here. So she switches out the Incineroar, which makes sense for all the attack reduction that she so desperately needs right now. Yeah, but again, Lele's flex slot is pretty unpredictable. So I'd like to see what that does, because that might be the answer to Tyranitar or Zapdos.
Oh, and Tapu Lele goes for the taunt, wanting to prevent any tailwind from the Zapdos, but Hayley not falling for the bait and just going for the Thunderbolt into what was the Incineroar.
I like this switch a lot from Tricia. I think the fact that the Blue switched in here and ate the Thunderbolt means that this turn basically went as best as it possibly could for Tricia. And this is the kind of momentum that she needs to bring back this game in terms of being in a winning position.
Yeah, because depending on what Zapdos has, then it might not really be able to handle this Bulu that well, because, I mean, Heat Wave or Hidden Power Ice will hit it super effectively, but if Bulu is Assault Vest, then it might not do as much as you'd expect it to.
The Bulu's speed is what really matters here, I think.
Yeah.
Judging by the fact that she switched it out, I feel like it's not as invested in speed. If it was confidently faster than Mega Tyranitar, I feel like being very aggressive on this given turn might have been the play. But judging by the switch, it looks like Tricia's looking to reposition and perhaps leave Bulu at the end to clean up with.
And Tapu Fini going for the Moonblast into the Zapdos does pretty big damage. So, I mean,
that roll is very useful too, just being able to lower the special attack.
Yeah, and with that damage, it looks like that Lele might actually be a spec set, because Zapdos is pretty bulky.
Yeah, that's a berry set, so I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that it has very high HP, which it does from its health number, but it also must have some defensive investment.
Yeah, but Hayley Zapdos' berry did activate, so it does heal back most of that damage.
Yeah, and Incineroar can kind of do whatever it wants here, I think.
Yeah.
If I were Tricia, I feel like seeing the Zapdos item and such would make me pretty confident that I could take a Thunderbolt and perhaps recover from the Pinch Berry.
Yeah, and Incineroar could also threaten Celesteela here,
yeah,
which
I want
will
to
be
see
very
her
nice
double
for
into Celesteela
to
account for the switch in.
But we see Moonblast into Zapdos again.
That's totally fine too.
Yeah.
That just covers different things.
And Zapdos going for the Thunderbolt, trying to...
Special defense drop, special attack drop coming in very clutch there.
Yeah.
I think that
because
probably would have mattered.
That probably would have knocked out if it weren't for the special attack drop.
Yeah.
And now Incineroar is just free to go for Flare Blitz into that Celesteela and take it right out, so Tapu Lele won't have to worry about that one anymore.
Yeah, Hayley's current board state with Zapdos, bulky Zapdos, and Celesteela kind of stalled her momentum a little bit, because they both kind of had to wait for Lele to attack and then do its stuff, and I'm not sure if that's something that is necessarily bad, because now Hayley gets a free switch in, and that might just let her get her win condition on a very, very safe spot.
Yeah, and we see Tyranitar coming back in with no more Intimidates on it.
Yeah, Zapdos is still at -1 though, and I would have liked to see a Zapdos switch perhaps a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And if the Zapdos had a roost, then maybe finding a time to roost somewhere might have been useful too.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but with a Tyranitar freely switched in, I'm not sure what this means for Tricia. I would assume from turn 1 that Lele is faster, but I don't think that'll be good enough to get a KO on Tyranitar with a Sand.
And Tricia withdrawing Incineroar, recognizing that if Tyranitar goes for Rock Slide, it's just
Moonblast
lights
on
out
Zapdos?
for that. Moonblast into
I hope
Zapdos.
So. That makes a lot of sense. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Just being able to save the Incineroar for Intimidate.
Hayley going for the Ice Punch, right? Expecting that Bulu to come in, and it does a lot of damage.
Yeah. Depending on the Bulu's item, that might be very huge. If it's a Pinch Berry, then maybe depending on the moves and some sort of like defensive switching, it could activate and be bad for Hayley. But I don't know. I think Tricia's defensive position here is
And
very
we see
strong.
Landorus take the field with a nice nickname.
Right,
You never
so-
skip leg day, people.
Yeah, like there's a couple of vendors out there, Landorus, Incarnate, all the other genies, and Mega Gengar. They have stubby legs for its like muscular builds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to say Landorus Incarnate here is most likely special or mixed, and
Yeah.
I would watch out for Sludge Bomb.
Oh, yeah.
That Understand doesn't get a boost, but it does do big enough damage to definitely KO the Tapu Bulu and maybe
Yeah.
the Lele.
Yeah.
So there's a very useful, I think a necessary switch in.
Yeah.
This way it also covers for, it's the least likely target to be earth powered, and yeah,
Yeah.
I like this play a lot, but I'm not really sure what this means for Tricia because we haven't seen the other moves yet.
Oh,
That was a read.
yeah. Hayley reading Tricia
Aw.
and going right for the Earth Power to get Incineroar out of there.
Yeah, I like that read. I think that was relatively low risk.
Yeah.
Like, even if it went towards the Tapu Bulu, it might have even KO'd with a Sand Boost. And
Yeah.
if it didn't, like, I don't think that's that big a deal.
Yeah.
But this way, Tricia can get the grassy terrain back, and if for some reason Hayley's Landorus doesn't have Sludge Bomb, that might be what it takes for Tricia to knock out
yeah.
the Tyranitar and then clean up with Tapu Lele.
Yep. But anyway, Tricia kind of couldn't really do much else, so I think Hayley recognized that and went right for the Earth Power.
Yeah, I'm personally really looking forward to the adaptation that Tricia will be making, because I felt that bringing Zapdos here, while not a mistake, maybe it was a little bit too early to try to get the special defense boost versus a
Yeah.
Sand team.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see a little bit of repositioning
And we
from
see
her
Sludge
end.
Bomb going into the Lele, actually, and it knocks it out with a crit.
Yeah, I don't
And-
think that would have mattered.
And Bulu is faster than Tyranitar, going for the
oh, that's
Thorn
big
Leech.
damage.
Yeah, I mean, grassy terrain and everything else considered.
Yeah, Blue is pretty hard. I think that'll live.
Yeah.
But, we got to see.
Oh, it freezes! I don't think that mattered much, but it froze.
Yeah, and we get to see that the item isn't a Pinchberry, so that might be something
Yeah.
that will make it a lot easier for Hayley when it comes to playing around certain items.
And it's also probably not a Scarf, because Landorus went first, and Hayley's Landorus is not a Scarf, because we saw it change moves.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see a Suicune somewhere here. And,
Yeah.
And I want to say Metagross, but I don't think Metagross is as essential to this plan. But I think Suicune
Yeah.
was. Maybe take out Zapdos for Suicune.
Yeah.
That would be a potential adjustment that would have put her at a pretty good advantage from turn 1, I think.
Yeah, I think that, especially with Hayley's team, Suicune will do very well against that team, because, Hayley has 2 Pokemon that are weak to Suicune, and I would assume Celesteela can't do a whole lot to Suicune.
I would say so, but judging by the kind of Celesteela that Hayley's been running, there might be a potential tech move.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, like Giga Drain, Seed Bomb, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I don't
Hayley-
think
Hayley's
that's hard
known
enough.
for...
I don't think that'll be good enough damage, though. Suicune's
Yeah,
very
probably
bulky.
not. Yeah, Suicune's very
Yeah.
bulky.
I really want to see a Suicune at the front.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe Metagross in the back, but I don't think it has to be. The issue
Yeah.
with putting the Lele and Bulu on the same floor is that
Is that...
there are some positions where you want both, but that messes with the other's damage
Yeah,
output.
exactly.
So maybe replacing one of them for perhaps a Metagross.
Yeah.
That's something that I would personally consider.
Oh, yeah, but definitely she needs to make the adjustment to bring Suicune to the match, because it's just such a good pick for Hayley's team. But
I like the way she played Incineroar, though.
yeah.
I would like to see it stay. I wasn't a big fan of Zapdos, but you still need at least one answer for the Celesteela.
It's
the kind of Pokemon that you choose to ignore, and it just
And-
kind of
yeah, and just
slowly
kinda
but
sits
surely,
there, and just and it
takes
just
over your team.
yeah, like it's a very slow and painful death.
Yeah, if it was like a physical set, then maybe Suicune itself might be okay with the Scald Burn, but
Yeah,
considering that we've seen only special moves, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if Suicune itself will be enough to be able to deal with Celesteela adequately.
yeah. So definitely, Tricia will definitely need to have that Celesteela covered, and Zapdos as well. But but once she gets those out of the way, Suicune should just be able to have its way. Anyway, we now see a
Tapu Bulu and Incineroar, which
yeah.
I think is. Oh, okay. Zapdos.
Yeah, so we're seeing Tricia make an adjustment for the lead that she would expect Hayley to bring, because
Was this Hayley's adjustment towards Suicune?
Possibly.
Like Zapdos in the front.
I feel like, yeah, I think so. But anyway, now
I think weirdly enough here, Tricia actually finds herself in a very good position. You just switch out Bulu, and I think there's very little that Hayley can do
about
on
the
this
Incineroar.
particular turn for Incineroar to do anything.
Yeah.
So you kind of just switch one out this turn, switch the other next turn if Hayley adjusts to deal with the Incineroar. I think that's like Tricia being able to be proactive, and I feel like with Celesteela as your opponent, that's something that you have to seize like as soon as you get the opportunity.
Exactly.
Or it's going to really be painful towards the later stages of the game.
Exactly. So.
Even without like a leech seed, just because the nature of Beast Boost snowballs.
And we do see Tricia switch out Bulu, right? And we see Suicune.
That's nice.
So she did make that adjustment, and we're seeing Snatch.
Oh.
That's interesting. I guess she's expecting Tailwind or.
I like that.
Oh, Thunderbolt though, and it went into the Suicune. Hayley.
Hayley playing very, very boldly.
And we also see Air Slash from the Celesteela, so this is definitely a very special set, but Incineroar didn't take too much from that.
Yeah, I think that's the funny thing about special Celesteela. It's less affected by Intimidate, but if you still have not really many good options versus Incineroar.
Yeah.
I think the best way for you to be able to deal with Incineroar as a Celesteela would be to have like substitute Leech Seed and be faster.
Yeah.
But that's a very specific spread that's not role that's not very popular.
Yeah, exactly. And Suicune goes for the Protect, wanting to keep itself safe from the Zapdos another turn, but Zapdos calling that, going for the Thunderbolt into the Incineroar instead, and we see Knockoff wanting to get rid of that berry. And
Terrain boosted. Oh wait, yeah. Giga Drain?
No, it doesn't get boosted because...
Yeah, it's floating. It's floating.
Yeah.
But I do like that Giga Drain onto the Suicune. I feel like it would be able to survive with if it has a berry as well, especially.
Yeah.
Hayley will have to approach this turn very carefully because you do kind of expect the Pinch Berry on Suicune going blind, and we already saw the item on the Incineroar. So I would like to... Oh, okay. So the switch here accounts for Zapdos very well, I think.
Yeah, and... But Zapdos goes for the Thunderbolt into the Incineroar again, activating its berry. I think Tricia mostly made that switch for the Celesteela, expecting it to go for Giga Drain. And we see Knockoff on the Celesteela and revealing the Assault Vest, actually.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So it'll be able to take, special moves much more comfortably, especially like, Thunderbolts from Zapdos.
Hayley's gonna have to switch here. If she doesn't, if she doesn't switch here, then she's going to start off with a Pokemon deficit. Potentially, that's something that she's willing to do just to get a safe switch in. But I feel like the base play of Ice Punch from Mega Metagross onto Zapdos and Flare Blitz from Faster Incineroar onto a chipped Celesteela is just
And Hayley
a
does
no-no.
not switch, I guess. She's expecting to be able to live, maybe? I don't know. Oh, Zen Headbutt.
That should be able to get a KO, though, I believe. Oh, okay.
Oh. It just barely missed out, and Thunderbolt goes into the Metagross, but that was a crit, and it gets the Paralyze. So
Zapdos being a total hacks machine
and
putting in work.
Incineroar goes for the Flare Blitz, getting rid of that Celesteela. So that's one threat to Suicune out of the way.
Okay, so I think with this turn, Hayley now can make an assumption that the Metagross does not carry Ice Punch, because usually Stomping Tantrum is seen as the must-have move.
Yeah,
must-have
and Iron
coverage
Head.
move. Yeah, so you want those two and Protect. So
Yeah.
I feel like usually people tend to replace Ice Punch for Zen Headbutt.
And we see Landers take the field once more, and that's going to threaten out both of Tricia's Pokemon.
Yeah, because now that paralysis was very big, because now Landers outspeeds Mega Metagross, and that just flips the matchup upside down.
Yeah, exactly. So now Landers can freely go for Earth Power into that Metagross, and I think from this range, Thunderbolt should take out Incineroar.
Yeah, I feel like we'll have to see a switch to like Tapu Bulu on that
Yeah.
slot. So, judging by the plays that Haley's been making, maybe reads are in order.
Yeah, and Metagross goes for Protect. Oh, Earth Power goes into the Incineroar instead, knocking it out.
Yeah, I think in terms of Haley's perspective, the reasoning is that Metagross has to switch or Tricia will sort of lose the game on the spot.
Yeah.
And that's why she was able to go for that play that might have not have worked as well if Tricia was to just attack with both Pokemon.
Yeah. But
I'm a big advocate of trying to play as aggressively as possible the
Yeah.
more behind you
But
are.
now Suicune comes back in, but it's not going to feel safe with that Zapdos on the field.
Yeah.
And now Landorus can just take out Metagross with Earth Power, and Zapdos can take out Suicune with Thunderbolt. So it's a very tough position for Tricia.
Yeah, it really is. If it wasn't for the paralysis, I just keep on going back to that because I feel like
Oh, yeah, that
was
mattered.
yeah, even without the Ice Punch, I feel like not having the paralysis would have been very big.
Yeah, and we see Metagross switch out here for the Tapu Bulu, expecting to absorb an Earth Power.
Does Haley go for the read again? Because she has shown in Game 1 that she really likes
Suicune goes
those.
for Protect, and let's see. Nope, no read.
I don't think she had to.
Yeah,
This is-
she didn't
this is
really
fine.
have to.
Because next turn she just outspeeds and sludge bombs anyway.
Yeah, and she got the special defense drop too.
Although I do want to see how especially defensive that Suicune is. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe with that grassy terrain recovery, the Suicune may be able to survive, potentially get a berry recovery.
Oh yeah,
And that might change this game like completely.
although it depends on the roll for the first turn.
Yeah.
Because it did a little more than half.
Oh, that's true. It would require a low roll.
Yeah.
But if she gets it, then I think, assuming that she sets up Tailwind on the turn, that would be very advantageous.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, Bulu is definitely in a tough spot because now Landers can just go for Sludge Bomb on it, and especially with the special defense drop, that should do the trick.
Yeah.
And
More
yeah,
switches.
Bulu knows that and switches out for Landorus once more. But did Haley make the read again? Ooh! But it went into Suicune actually.
That should be fine. Oh.
And,
I'm not quite sure.
Ooh.
Oh,
and
what?
Waterium Z. That is an interesting.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely expected a bulky berry set, but I think a Waterium Z set makes a lot of sense, especially with the prevalence of Incineroar and Landorus.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, and that pretty easily takes care of both of them.
I think it's one of those, like, meta trends where people are trying to punish.
It survived with just
Yeah,
Focus
Sash.
Sash.
Oh, that makes sense. I believe that slot, the Landorus Incarnate slot, formerly used to belong to Garchomp,
Yes.
who also ran a Sash. So I guess this is like just a direct conversion. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
maybe Landorus Incarnate's just better for this role, so I'll just run the exact same stuff, but just put in the Landorus.
Yeah, and also interesting to note is that when Haley had Garchomp, it did have Sandveil.
Oh yeah, that was a heart attack every time I
Oh
attacked with it.
yeah,
Scary stuff.
yeah. But now Haley is once again free to just have her day with this team, and Tricia protects both of her Pokemon, but I don't think it will matter very much because, as we see, Haley just goes for the Earth Power into the Metagross and Thunderbolt into the Suicune, and at those ranges, both of those will definitely knock out.
Yeah. I just feel like there's very little that Tricia can do with the paralysis at this point.
Yeah.
Like, yes, the double protect there maintained the board state, but I'm not sure if that necessarily changes the end game.
Yeah, but like that paralysis definitely mattered because otherwise, Metagross would have outsped that Landorus and it wouldn't have really cared about it.
Yeah, because after one chip damage, you should be able to Iron Head or Zen Headbutt and get a KO.
Exactly.
And the fact that that option is disabled here is very, very big.
Yeah.
I feel like this will be one of those games where Haley will be able to sweep with like
Yeah.
very low health Pokemon.
Yeah.
But that
exactly.
can go wrong in so many different ways. So we'll see how it goes. It's not over until it's actually
And
over.
Landorus goes for the Earth Power into Metagross, taking it out. But the question is, what did Zapdos? What Zapdos went for Thunderbolt as expected.
Yeah, covering for Suicune.
Yeah.
I think that's like not that big of a deal. I think Hayley's in a position where she doesn't have to make sick reads.
Yeah.
Whereas for Tricia, that is the kind of play that she needs to get herself out of this position.
Yeah.
I am not sure if the Pokemon that she has available will enable that kind of play though, because it looks like Landorus Incarnate will end up going first, and both Pokemon on Hayley's end have ways to super effectively hit Tricia's Pokemon. Maybe earlier on, I would have liked to see more trades, like being less afraid of losing a Pokemon, as long as you can get something done on the opponents.
And Landorus goes for the Sludge Bomb into Bulu and knocks it right out with a crit, which...
That probably didn't matter.
Yeah, it probably didn't. It may depend on what Bulu's item was, though.
Yeah.
And goes for the Thunderbolt, takes out Tricia's Suicune, and that's game.
Yeah, well played to both players. I'm glad we got to see some really cool Pokemon that honestly should be used more, but we don't see them as often.
Yeah.
Like Suicune, Landorus Incarnate,
Yeah.
they all have the base stat totals and the typing, as well as the move pool to, you know, have a solid role within the VGC 2018 metagame.
But the main thing is that with Suicune, you usually would want to use Tapu Fini, and with Landorus Incarnate, that removes the ability to use Landorus Therian.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think with Incineroar, Landorus Therian isn't as essential.
Right. But anyway, good games to both players, well played. But rest in peace to Tricia's dreams of top cut.
She'll get it next time.
Yeah,
She'll be fine.
There's always next time.
Like, I honestly think she played very well.
Yeah.
There were some
there
were some reads on Hayley's end that she played very well in, and then there were some luck-based things here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. Well played to both players. They'll get good stuff sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back soon for top 8.
Yeah, I think so.
I think.
Top 8?